Okay, hi everyone, welcome here. My name is O-Sheena. I really hope this video is going to be helpful to you. So this is going to be all of my best young adult recommendations. I do have a couple other videos related to this topic, but these are an updated list, and I tried to keep in mind parents that are looking for books to read for their kids. I do tend to get comments from parents saying they're looking for books for their young teens to read that have, safe levels of content. And then I also get actual teenagers commenting saying, hey, I wish there were more young adult recommendations. Do you have any? So these are my recommendations as of now, and I do plan to read more into the young adult genre. It's been a while. I took a long break from young adult as I was discovering adult fiction, but now I'm kind of getting back into it, so I'm excited to discover more recommendations for you guys. But for now, these are all of the ones that I do recommend, and I will try to be very descriptive of what the content is. These are not all Christian fiction, they're just general fiction, clean fiction, and I will specify the language level, the content level, everything, so that you can see if it's a good pick for you. At your own discretion, you know yourself, you know your kids, so this is hopefully just a resource for you, and I hope that it is helpful. So these are not all of the young adult books that I've read. These are the ones that I would recommend. So there are some young adult books that I enjoyed personally as an adult, but I wouldn't recommend to a young adult person. So you may see some books in the background or whatever in my videos that you know that I've read, but if I don't recommend them here, it's because there's something in them that I actually wouldn't recommend to people, but I personally enjoyed the book enough to still have it. So let's get into it, okay? So my first recommendation is Kasie West. I have not read most of her recent books, so I don't know if they're still good, but these in particular are really good and I recommend them. These are like contemporary romance and they feel actual age appropriate. So my all-time favorite one is On the Fence. This is like a sports romance, boy next door, childhood friends to lovers, all the things, and it's just super cute. Follow this girl who has a ton of brothers and she is just trying to figure out herself as a woman. Her mom passed away, so she just like doesn't know how to be a woman among all these guys, and her dad's doing the best he can, but there's that. So you kind of follow her journey of discovering who she is, and then she ends up talking to her neighbor who's also her best friend, who also like is a family friend, and they talk by the fence. It's so cute, and there's only kissing, and it's great. Another one is By Your Side by Kasie West. So this one features anxiety. So the main girl character does have anxiety and she suffers from panic attacks, and that is described a little bit on page, but I thought it was done really well. It was more so a journey of her figuring out that she has anxiety. She always has felt different and she didn't know why. And then she also ends up getting trapped in a library overnight with a boy, and nothing happens, but they do know each other from school, so they end up kind of like chatting, getting to know each other, and then after they get out, it's kind of their relationship, and he was just so good to her. Another thing this book is really good at is showing how you shouldn't judge people just based on appearance and based on like reputation, because he definitely has a bad boy reputation, but he's not one, and you get to see that between the characters, and I thought that was so beautiful. So yeah, overall, very fun book to read as well. Lastly is The Distance Between Us. So this one is fun. It's kind of a rags to riches story where this super rich boy goes into this doll shop where this girl works. He's like looking for a doll for his mom or someone, and she's like poor. She lives above the shop with her mom, and they're just scraping by, and they hit it off, and it's a romance between them, and it was just really sweet. Definitely a lot of like prejudice from his family of like, you can't be with someone poor, and so a lot of talk about like economics and like how that affects relationships, and I thought it was really well done. Again, only kissing, super cute, highly recommend. Oh, another Kasie West book I really liked is Love, Life, and the List. So for this one, you follow a girl who wants to be an artist, but she's young, and this art gallery says like, your art doesn't have like any experience in it. Like we're looking for kind of more depth. And so she makes this list to like give her experience, and her best guy friend helps her with the list, and it is a romance between them, and it was super cute. And this is technically the start of a companion trilogy, I think, but this is by far the best one. Highly recommend. Loved the ending, and again, only kissing, no language, so super good. I will say I'm also looking at my young adult bookshelf on Goodreads, and so that's another great resource for you guys. If you want to see all of the young adult that I've read, I do put it all on this bookshelf, and so you can see my reviews and that could be another resource for you, but I'm gonna like pick out the best ones on this list, and then I do have some to hold up still. Okay, I'm gonna go into like fantasy and stuff. So Heart of Red, Blood of Blue by Rebecca Belliston is such a great young adult fantasy. I would say this is more for older teenagers, like 16 and up probably would enjoy this. It depends like on your comfort level, but basically you follow this world where there's kingdoms, there's war, and you follow a girl who is the last heir to the throne. She is a princess and she is albino. So for some reason in her kingdom, albinism, is that how you say it? It's looked down upon. She's seen as kind of weird and like people are scared of it, so she has to be hidden away. But because she's the last heir, her dad, the king, decides to betroth her to another king who's like old and gross, and the princess doesn't want to do it, so she runs away, and you follow her on the run, all the people she meets, all the discoveries she makes, and it's so good. There is definitely war in this. There's sadness, there's blood, there's death, but it's mild and just so good, so entertaining. Okay, Kiera Cass is another one that writes really great young adult books, so I'm gonna recommend 1,000 Heartbeats. This is a standalone fantasy and it's really fun, definitely a chunker, so it'll at least, you know, take up some time, give you some time to read this book. So again, this follows a kingdom where there's two kingdoms at war, they can't see eye to eye, and the princess is like been told like, you gotta hate this other side, but she ends up meeting the other side somehow, and there is a guy, and she's like, oh, they're not as bad as I thought, like what's going on? And so they are trying to like figure out how to stop this war from happening, and it's so cute. Okay, I really enjoyed it. It is like fantasy, but there's no magic and there's only kissing, and it was really good. No language, all the things. And you probably know the Selection trilogy is so good. It's technically a series now. There are 2 other books about her kid, but yeah, the original trilogy was so entertaining. It blew up when it came out because it's basically The Bachelor, where there's this kingdom once again, and the prince has to find someone to marry, and how they do it is they get all of these girls to basically apply to come to the kingdom, vie for the prince's affection. And your family gets like supported through it, so there is incentive because your family gets like money and stuff for sending you. So this girl decides to apply even though she doesn't want to win because she already has someone she's in love with back home, and so she's always thinking about him. But she gets to the palace and of course she hits it off with the prince, and now she's torn. And it is a love triangle in this first book, but you know, things are discovered and it's really good. And yeah, there's only kissing in this. I think there might be one B word, not in this book, but maybe in the second or maybe the third. One B word appears at one point, but otherwise it is totally clean. There's no language, and there is a little bit of violence, like if whipping freaks you out, then there is a whipping scene. Okay, I'm just gonna say that. And it is sad, but it's over pretty quick. And other than that, like, I think it was okay, and I would still recommend this to like 14 and up. Okay, next, I don't know where this book is because I've changed my bookshelves so much, but it's Waterfall by Lisa T. Bergren. And this book is like a Christian fantasy, so that's exciting. Basically, this mom and her daughters are on an excavation dig, an archaeological dig, and the 2 sisters go into this cave, they touch this rock, and they get transported to medieval Italy. And you follow them in medieval Italy. There's a kingdom, there's a prince, there's love interests. It's great, very entertaining, and there's war, there's like scary times happening, they're trying to figure out how to get home, and yeah, it definitely is very angsty, like very teenage angst, but very entertaining, so definitely recommend. I would say like 15, 14 and up could read it. Okay, another fun one, XOXO by Axie Oh. If you or your kid likes K-pop, you need to read this book, because it is about K-pop. So basically, this Korean American girl moves to Seoul to go to school, and the school she goes to has K-pop singers at it as well, and she has a romance with one of the lead guys in this K-pop band, and it's super cute. Okay, no language I remember, only kissing, very sweet, recommend. Okay, next up, Cinder. This is the Lunar Chronicles. Definitely recommend this for young adults. It's really fun. There's only ever kissing, and the only like dark thing about it is there are people that have mind powers and can like control what other people do. Sometimes they like make them do like mean things, so there's that, but otherwise these all follow different fairy tale retellings. So obviously Cinder follows Cinderella, and in this world they have figured out how to settle on the moon, and people who have lived on the moon, they get like powers from it because of like something with the gravitational pull. I don't know. They have powers. And so they are not welcome on Earth because they can like control other humans. So there's definitely a lot of animosity between the moon people and lunar, I think it's called, between lunars and Earthlings. And you follow this girl who's actually a cyborg, and that means she's a second-class citizen. People don't like cyborgs for some reason. Her dad married this woman, and now he's gone. They don't like her. And so she's, you know, typical Cinderella situation, but she somehow runs into the prince and stuff happens, okay? And this is such a fun ride. The whole series is really good. I'd say the last book has the most violence in it. So there's definitely violence, but it's not over the top. And I still think that it's appropriate for young adults. And there's no language that I can remember. I think it's like, yeah, pretty much no language. Okay, another classic, you guys, Divergent by Veronica Roth. This trilogy, it's so good. This is like classic dystopian. So I personally love this trilogy, and I would recommend it for young adults, and I think people could like it because Triss is such an inspiring character, and you really see her go on a journey of like sacrifice and crazy stuff, okay? So if you don't know, this follows a world where there's factions, and when you turn 16, you have to choose which faction you're going to live in for the rest of your life. So you're born into whatever faction you are, but then when you're 16, you get to pick if you want to leave or if you want to stay. And she is born into the Abnegation faction, which is the selfless one, and she changes to Dauntless, which is the fearless one. So you follow her going to Dauntless and figuring things out how to be fearless, and all of the different like training they go through, and all of the people that are mean to her and like her, friends to her, love interest, you know. 4. Okay, I see he's making the rounds on all the things. Theo James, the movie, okay? Picture him while you read this book. Great. Okay, yeah, so the only thing you have to worry about is like the violence. Otherwise, there's no language, there's only kissing, and I love this trilogy. I think how it ended was brilliant, in my opinion, so there you go. Okay, a recent one is The Naturals. I see a lot of people recommending this book. It's definitely making the rounds. This is an older series, and I heard about it a long time ago, but I just never picked it up, and now that it's making a resurgence, it has these new beautiful covers. It's really good. It's actually really good. There is like a little bit of language, like mild. I think they say the B word like once, and that's about it. So slight, but it's fine. And then the violence in terms of blood, because it is about serial killers. Be aware of that. But yeah, the romance is so good. There's only kissing, and it's so good. So you follow these kids who have like special, extraordinary powers that the FBI wants to use to solve serial killer cases, and that's the story. It's really exciting. I'm on the 4th book at this point, but I hopefully have finished it by now. I don't even know where it is, but here's the 3 books that I've read so far. They're so good. I love this. It's so good. So definitely recommend. I would honestly say someone younger could read this, like 13 and up, just because like it's really basic, but like not in a boring way. Like it's actually just really entertaining, but not like, I don't know, it's just like really good writing. So, okay, this is super random, but I feel like why not? A total throwback. Anyone still read Sarah Dessen? Is she even making books anymore? I don't know. But I do want to recommend Lock and Key by Sarah Dessen, because this follows sisters. They have not a healthy mom who is not able to take care of them, and the older sister is like figuring out her life. I think she's moved out by the time you start the book, and the girl you follow is in high school, and she's just grappling with like her relationship with her sister, with her mom, who does she live with, how does she figure this out, and then there is a small romance. It's definitely clean. There's only kissing, if there even is kissing. I don't even remember if there's romance, but there probably is. But the family dynamics is what really stood out, and I feel like the message was really good, and just like the character growth. So if you happen to see this, if it's even still in existence, Lock and Key by Sarah Dessen, I do recommend that to young adults. Okay, back to dystopian. So Legend by Marie Lu, This is a really fun trilogy as well, and I feel like guys and girls could like this, potentially. There's romance, but it's on the lighter side in my opinion. I have heard some people say that the romance was annoying, but like, I loved it, so that's just me. So anyways, I'm just saying. So in this world, you follow America, and World War III happened, I think, and there is like a barrier between the East and the West, and you follow the West where there's also a plague happening. So all of like the slums and the poor people are struggling with this plague, and then the rich people are doing their thing. And so you follow a boy who's in the slums, and his mom thinks he's dead, so he's like kind of hiding out, but he is helping his family, so he is doing his thing like that. You follow a girl from the rich side of the society, and she is actually tasked to find this boy because he keeps like breaking into things, stealing things from the hospital, stuff like that. So that's what you follow. So it is a little more gritty. There's definitely death, there's killing, there's sad times. There's no language I can remember, and there is only kissing. It's a really fun trilogy, so I do recommend it. Now you may see, I'll just mention Powerless. I'll give you some content and you can decide if it's good for you. I would probably say like 16 and up should read this, but that's just me. So for Powerless, there is a little bit of language in here. The worst word is the S word. Otherwise, it's just kind of mild here and there. There's a lot of violence, there's blood, and there's no intimate details at all. So that's really nice. Same with the second book. There is, which I do have vlogs for these books, so I'll link them down below if you haven't seen them. But for the second book, there's even lighter language in this book than in Powerless, and there's only kissing in this book, whereas this one doesn't even have any. So yeah, highly recommend this if that sounds good to you. It's fantasy, you know. But I'll link my videos down below if you want to see more. It's for a certain kind of reader. It's for the romance lovers, and for like the enemies to lovers, angsty, bantery lovers, okay? Okay, I think I'll leave it at that. That's a lot of recommendations. I'm gonna write them all down below. And again, I will link videos down below with more recommendations for young people. I'll try to link my Goodreads list as well with all of the young adults so you can see. There may have been some that I've forgotten, but I will make an updated version of this video. So anything I forgot, I'll include in the next one. But these are my best recommendations. So hopefully I gave you some options for whatever kind of books you like to read. And thank you so much for trusting my opinion. And I definitely understand the struggle that it is to find good, solid young adult books, and so hopefully these are helpful. Check your library for these books. You don't have to go and buy all of these books. Just use your library. Get the Libby app and read them on your phone. Once I've read some more young adult books, I will do another one of these videos, but for now, here it is. So hope this is helpful once again, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.